Hi from Tanzania. This week I am making a video with tips and tricks for when you are about to book your Tanzania holiday. So if you have decided to go on holiday to Tanzania, then then the booking process will start. First I will introduce myself for those who don't know me and have clicked on this video through another channel. I am Selma. I am living in Tanzania together with my family, my husband and 3 children. And together with my husband I run Makasa Safaris, a tour operator in Tanzania. And we organize holidays in Tanzania, such as safaris and trips to Zanzibar, cultural visits, all sorts. We are living here based on the foothills of Kilimanjaro in Moshi, and we organize tailor-made and private holidays. And tailor-made means that you can customize your itinerary together with me, and that we can plan your trip according to your wishes. So that is very nice. And private means that you travel just with your group, so you're not placed in a group with other travelers, but you just travel with either the 2 of you, or as a honeymoon, or with your family, with your kids, or with friends. All private in your own safari jeep with one of our guides, of course. So that's a short story about me. As a Tanzania expert, I would say, by now we're doing this almost 10 years, so I can call myself an expert by now. I have some advice to share for when you are about to book your Tanzania holiday. When you look on the internet, or when you go to travel shows, or you look in magazines about Tanzania, there is so much to offer. Tanzania is a big country and there is a lot to do, a lot of amazing stuff to do. Most people have only 10 days or 2-week, 3-week holidays, and you have to fit all those highlights in a short time. For most people it's a once-in-a-lifetime holiday, so you want to get everything out of there. And it's a long travel from either America or Europe, or so. Yes, it is a special holiday. It's not just a holiday which you do in a few days, and what you have not seen you can do next year or something. So a lot of planning is involved, and I want to give you 8 tips in this video, good tips to think about when you are in the planning stage of your Tanzania holiday. Here we go. Tip number 1 is to seek advice from experts like me, or like other tour operators, people who have been to Tanzania themselves, share experiences. Ask for advice. Tanzania is not a country which how do you say that? When you have never been here, it's hard to imagine what will be waiting for you. So it's important to seek advice and to ask what are the possibilities, and do this with someone who knows what they're talking about. So there are, of course, many people who offer Tanzania holidays, but always look for someone who has actually been there. Talk to people who know what they're talking about, who know Tanzania, and who can really advise from their own experience what you have to see, what you should not miss, and all the tips and tricks. Tip number 2. Once you have received an itinerary from either a safari outfitter, or maybe when you have made yourself an itinerary, check if this covers everything you want to see. Of course, there are several highlights in Tanzania. The safaris. Safari is a real highlight, of course. Parks like Serengeti National Park, Ngorongoro Crater, Tarangire, Lake Manyara, all highlights of Tanzania, and definitely not to miss. So when you come to Tanzania, almost everyone wants to come on safari. Make sure that you have all the parks involved which you like to see. If not, then maybe you can discuss with your operator if you can still include one of the other parks which you are still missing. Also think about things like beach. Maybe you like to visit the beach as well. We have the tropical island of Zanzibar on the coast of Tanzania, so you can visit that while you're here. But also the cultural, the tribes in Tanzania are very interesting to visit. We have the famous Maasai tribes, but there are also other tribes like the Hadzabe, the Datoga. We have the Chaga tribe. You can visit all of those, and it would be very nice to include at least one, but maybe even a few days to spend with the local tribes, so that you also really get to know the culture behind Tanzania. And again, it doesn't have to actually be at one of the tribes. You don't have to be in a Maasai village if that doesn't appeal to you, but you can also spend just a few days in Moshi or Arusha and do some day trips from there. For example, you can visit the coffee farms, where you can have a tour around there, and then in that way you can also really come close to the local life of Tanzania, and that is a very nice way to experience not only the wildlife but also the local life and the people. And yeah, what makes Tanzania so special is also those friendly people. So it will be very nice to visit them and have interaction with them and talk with them and hear their stories. So yeah, my tip too is look at your itinerary. Don't just accept the first offer, but look if it really includes everything you expect from your perfect holiday, and look which highlights of Tanzania you would like to see, and make sure that you're visiting them while you're here. Tip number 3 is that you have a close look at your itinerary if you have enough time for the safari. A safari is basically a round trip through several national parks, and it is very important that you take enough time to enjoy these parks. If you're just busy rushing from A to B and on to C, then you don't actually get to enjoy the safari as much. So our advice is always to take at least a few days per park. Of course, the smaller parks you can do maybe in 1 or 2 days, but parks like Serengeti, it is really nice if you can have like a 3 or a 4 night stay there, so that you can really enjoy the wildlife in the park and have time to go on safaris. This is very important, and not everyone always advises you in a proper way like that. Maybe when you're in the West or you're behind your desk, behind your computer booking this safari, you don't realize the distances between the parks. Usually it takes a few hours to actually drive to Serengeti National Park, and then it is nice if you have actually a few days to also enjoy the park, and not that you have to leave the next morning already. Also, a safari is all about being patient and having time to wait and see what is coming on your path. It's not like a zoo where you hop from the lions to the elephants to the giraffe. You really have to drive around and see what comes on your path. And if you have more days, then you also have more luck and more time to find your luck. And yeah, that will really help you. So I advise to take at least 7 days for your safari. Of course, if budget or time allows different, then it is a different story. But if you have the time and under optimum conditions, take 7 to 10 days for your safari, and don't go for as many parks in a short time, but go for fewer parks and more days in one park, so that you really can enjoy the time that you're there. Tip 4 is, when you have received a quotation, please have a look if your quote is based on a private safari or a group trip. This is an important difference. We organize private safaris, but of course it is possible as well that you prefer to travel in a group. But make sure that you know what your itinerary or your quote is based on. A private safari gives a lot of advantages in terms of that you're more flexible while you're on safari, in like what time you get up, what time do you go into the park, or what time do you start your safari. For example, an early morning 6 o'clock safari with the sunrise. Do you have lunch at the lodge, or do you take a picnic lunch? All these things are more flexible when you have a private safari. When you have a group safari, those things are more set, as well as actually your whole itinerary. And of course, when you have a private safari, it is easier to say, you know, we love to have a look at these elephants for an hour or even 2 hours. We just park our car here, sit back and just enjoy the wildlife, than that you have many people and many preferences, many choices. So a private safari definitely has advantages. Of course, there are also advantages to group safaris. Just make sure that you choose what fits you best and then go for that. Tip number 5 is find out a bit more about your guide. So if you're ready to book your safari with an outfitter, Ask them about what they're doing for their guides, if they offer any trainings, what kind of level their guide has. We with Makasa, we try to really invest a lot in our guides in terms of training. We offer them wildlife training, customer care training. A guide is a very important element on your safari. I always say your guide makes or breaks your safari, because you are 7 or 10 days or how long your safari takes with him in a jeep, and he is the one showing you around. So it is very important that you have a good click with your guide, and that you have a knowledgeable guide, one who knows a lot about the wildlife, about Tanzania, about the rules and regulations, where to find the animals, where you should go for an early morning game drive, or other tips and tricks. And of course, apart from that, he should be a pleasant company during your safari. So I think it is very important to have a good guide and to have a pleasant person around during your safari, especially if you go on a private safari where it may be just the two of you, or a small family. Then the interaction with your guide is actually, you become very close, and it's nice if you can become friends after this holiday, and if he can show you the best of Tanzania. Tip 6 is have a look at the accommodations where you are staying. When you have received an itinerary, check in which kind of accommodations you stay. There is a big difference between accommodations in Tanzania. You have from budget to mid-range to luxury to super luxury. And of course, for everyone, there is something which will suits their wishes and their level of comfort. And the wallet, of course. So check, which accommodations are included in your itinerary. Usually you can also change these accommodations. When you work with an operator who is doing tailor-made itineraries, then you can also change the accommodations. So if sometimes an accommodation might not be fitting your expectations, then you can have a look if there is something else to offer. Within Serengeti there are several tented camps, lodges, hotels of all different comfort levels. So for everyone there is something. And I think it is important that you check this already in the booking process, because it also has, where you sleep at night, it makes a big difference for your whole holiday experience. We often like to use small-scale accommodations, which are also doing something back for the society. For example, we use a lot a lodge in Moshi, which is supporting a school. We have like a tented camp in Karatu, which is supporting an orphanage. So we like to include those kind of accommodations in your itinerary so that we can give something back to the community. But of course it is also totally fine if you want to stay in a luxury hotel, if that is what you wish for. So discuss with your Tanzania expert, the one who you're making your booking with, what the possibilities are, and have a look what you like best. Tip 7. Check the company you want to book with online for reviews. Of course, nowadays we're all putting reviews online, and every company has reviews online from former travelers, former clients, and I think those will give you a great insight in how the company is operating, how they deal with their clients, and it's a great way to see if your company is doing actually a good job, or at least the job you expect them to do. So have a look online at the company you want to book, see if you can find any reviews from former travelers, and see if you get happy about them and enthusiastic, and then you are sure that you are booking with a company who is actually also offering what they promise. And tip number 8, book that safari and count down the days till you are going into that plane and come on holiday to Tanzania. Tanzania is an amazing country. It's an amazing holiday destination. It offers everything from wildlife, nature, beautiful sceneries, to tropical beaches on Zanzibar, the local African people, dances, Maasai tribes. It is so colorful. The smells of nature here are amazing. It's really, really worth a visit. And for everyone who has not been here yet, please have a look online and yes, come and visit and you will see it for yourself. I hope these 8 tips have given you a bit of guidance in your booking process for your next holiday to Tanzania. If you have any questions, you can drop them below this video and I will get back to you and I will answer them. And don't forget to like the video and to subscribe on our channel, and next week we are back with a new video about Tanzania. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.